We're getting into positives and negatives now that the preseason is over. A positive, Josh Minott. A negative, Anfernee Simons. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT. Karalis, recap the madness every game, every practice. Primetime Depp and D White on the sideline. Raining Jays, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics. I talk about them every Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts on the weekends when they play games on Fridays or Saturdays. So make sure you're subscribed. The show is free. It's everywhere. It's on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Share your thoughts with the everydayers, the people who are here Monday through Friday with me, John Karalis. I'm a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've written a couple of books about the team. I've been covering the team for about 20 years. So I've been around for a while. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Preseason has ended mercifully. We are going through positives and negatives in this show later on. Some of the negatives, obviously turnovers, rebounds, a little something about Anfernee Simons and a couple of other people. The positives, we like Josh Minott, and a few other things. And when I say we, I mean me and Tom Westerholm, everybody.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How are you feeling?
I am
physically, mentally, emotionally. How are you feeling?
Okay. In that order, think I'm feel the best physically.
Okay.
Mentally, it's like just my overall mentality. I'm still a little angry. Emotionally, I'm like a little but angry in a competitive way. Okay. Like angry that we only scored 4 points. Still angry about that. I spent too much time pre-game yesterday talking about potential press breaks and how we would break the press next time. So, and I was mad at myself because I was like, look, man, we had a Division I women's basketball player out there. We had, me. I had a couple of former college basketball players. Why didn't we call a timeout and just lean on our experience and set up a press break and get a couple of shots up? Because if we get to 10 points, I don't think it goes as crazy. 57-10 is like, but 57-4 was like, I got random people texting me out of nowhere, calling me out of nowhere. Yeah. So
that's rough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, I'm my physical pain.
Yeah.
Just so people understand what kind of basketball I played. Normally, when you play ball, you get sore like in your lateral movement muscles, your adductors, your abductors, because you haven't done a defensive slide in forever. None of that soreness because I didn't do any defensive slides. I am sore in my quads, which has never happened to me before. You know why? Because I was running up the court and then I had to stop myself on a dime where your quads come in when you're running. And then I turn around and I had to stop myself because so the constant stopping and starting, basically I wore out my brakes. I was just running up and down the floor so much. That's the type of soreness. So that tells you a little bit about how that game went.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
you get something to say.
Oh, okay, all right. I got a little bit. I got a couple takes I can fire off about this. I watched Mazzulla's press conference where he addressed this with you guys, and it felt like he was sort of it almost felt like he was sort of trying to walk some things back. I don't know. I posted the other day that I felt like I'm very tired of the coach owns reporter shtick, and then and the game felt like an extension of that, right? And then he gave his press conference where he was like, well, we come from a competitive environment, and I had some I understood kind of what he was trying to say, I think, and I still don't think he gets a lot of things. I think that he's pretty off base on several aspects. First, I thought it was funny. I think first and foremost, right? He said that when he comes in there, right? He's coming from a competitive environment, and you guys are just doing your jobs.
Mhm.
And it's like, my brother, do you really think that beat reporting is not competitive? That is one of the most that is an
Sure.
unbelievably competitive environment.
Yeah.
Like, every single story that you write, you are sweating, and you're collegial with everybody. You're friendly with a lot of people, right? When you're a beat writer, friends with some, for sure, right? Like, you are friends, friendly, collegial. Like, everybody's like, pretty polite. At the worst, everybody's polite with each other, right?
Sure.
But you want to kick everyone's butt
Mhm.
so bad all the time. It's like, even the people that you are friends with, even the people
Sure.
that you are friendly with, you want, like, I want to, like, if I have a story, if I had a story, right, and I saw Jay King talking to somebody who was in my story, I immediately start sweating like that. MF better not be getting the story I have. I will be so mad if he does, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is an unbelievably competitive environment, and it
Sure.
just showed me that, like, Joe doesn't get media. Like, and most people who are covered by the media don't get media, but it was
Definitely.
just
That's true.
such a tone deaf thing to say to me, where I was like, "No, dude, you don't get it. It is hyper competitive. It's a lot of former athletes who then got into this because they themselves are very competitive people, and yeah, they just weren't blessed with the skills to continue on in the sport."
Well, that's true. All of that is 100% true. I will say that I don't know. I am giving him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he anticipated the Taylor Snow tweet where the last shot goes in and it pans to the scoreboard and it gets out and it gets viral. I don't think he ever said, "Hey, set this up. We're going to publicly embarrass these folks." I do think that Joe, in his way, he likes to test people. It
Mhm.
goes back to the reporter that was doing a story on him, and Joe was in the cold tub. He's like, "Well, if you're going to do this interview, you got to get in the cold tub with me." He wants to test people's mettle. He is, in a lot of ways, he does have that warrior mentality like that. That's
Sure.
kind of like, kill or be killed. I need to know what are you? What are you? And so I think it is abjectly stupid to full court press us, right? Like, the best or second best player on the team is me, 52 years old, and hadn't played basketball in a year, and a comfortable 40 pounds over my playing weight. So, like, I
You mean to tell me that a bunch of former NBA and D1 players who train with NBA players every day made
yeah,
that difficult on you guys?
yeah.
That's what you mean to tell me?
So it is like the silliest thing in the world to be like, we're going to press you, we're going to trap you, we're going to turn you over every time. Like, if we're just going to go out there and play some basketball and have some fun, then, I mean, come on. But Joe, I feel like, needed to see. It's like, what are you made of? And I do think that he was legitimately, like, impressed by the fact that we're like, it's like a Rocky movie where, you just get knocked down, you're bloody, you're bruised, and you just get up, you're like, come on. And he respects that. I think if we play again, I don't know if we're going to play again like this, coaches against the media. Maybe we'll mix it up and have a little bit more fun, competitive type of game. But he came out of it. Like, he legitimately came out of it, going like, okay, like, these folks do actually love the game. And I'm not going to reveal the details of, like, the private conversation.
Of course. Yeah.
But, like, I did want to make the point, like, Joe, you understand, like, just what you just said. And this is nothing, I'm not speaking on a turn here. I love basketball for a variety of reasons and in a very personal way. I never had the fast twitch fibers. I played at a higher level than a lot of people, but I mean, the difference between my level, it's like the Scalabrini, like, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. Like, I'm like the you are to me. Like, I'm not, like, where those guys are is like him closer to LeBron. I'm nowhere near that. So, but I still love the game. I'm not just going to stop. I'm not saying, so that this is my way. This is my way of being part of the NBA.
And that was it. I want to say too, like that was the other thing that I just like rubbed me the wrong way of like him being like, well, I really started to understand how much you guys love the game. It's like, oh, really? Like all these people who these underpaid the underpaid overworked reporters who like half of them show up to the game because like, you know, like because you get to go to TD Garden a couple times a week. And it's like, you're not paid anything, who are like just trying to break in to like
Sure.
to break in. Like you needed this to tell you that they love the game.
Yes, he did. He did actually. Like this is the language that he speaks.
He thinks about things enough that he shouldn't need that. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I am giving him the benefit of the doubt.
That's all.
I am giving him the benefit of the doubt because of a couple of things. Because he didn't just come out, spank us, and then leave.
Sure.
They came out, they spanked us. Everybody stuck around. They were encouraging us in the media versus media game that we did play afterwards.
Sure. Yeah.
2 12-minute halves that we played against each other. And that sucked because we were all exhausted. But,
yeah.
You know, I came down, I took a shot, and he was like, oh, you got the 3 for 2. You know, so, oh, you missed the 2 for 1. Like, he's like kind of coaching. So they stuck around. So it wasn't just we're here to embarrass you and then we're going to walk off laughing and you know, pat each other in the back. Everybody stuck around. People, they were encouraging. After the game was over, we hung around for like 20 minutes. We all kind of like joked around, and you know that I told Joe that I wanted to elbow him, and he got a kick out of that. And like, it's one thing to say, hey, we know you love the game and all that stuff, but like, how much do you love the game? And like, maybe I get it, and I know you get it because you played too.
Yeah.
When you're that competitive, you're like, yeah, you love it, but are you willing? Like, it's like, are you willing to die for this? You know, like, but like, he needed to see that. Like, it didn't matter if it was 57-4. We were still out there trying to contest. We were still trying to. I was exhausted and it looked terrible. But like, when I missed the shot, I was pissed at myself. I threw a towel at Joe. Like I threw it. Like I was visibly upset about certain things that were happening. And he needed to see that to be like, oh, right. They're just, you know, it's different. It's different. So I do think that there's a level of respect. And I know the segment's going along. I will say this. How I know Joe actually kind of got it. I decided I wanted to bust his chops. So there was Jack Simone asked the question the other day that set him off.
Yeah.
He was like, I answered this question.
It felt like the start of all of this, to be honest with you. It felt like what made him go like, I'm going to destroy these guys. Yeah.
So he went through all of that stuff and it pissed him off. So I was like, all right, Joe, you got the best of us on your turf. Pre-game media, this is my house. So I asked literally the same question, almost verbatim.
Yeah.
And Joe, I was expecting Joe to like flip me off, to be like, next question. Be like, okay, I get it. Good one, John. He actually sat there and answered it thoughtfully. I was like, did he not realize that it's the same question and that I'm busting his chops? Like this is my way of like throwing a little jab at him. He blew right past it. Maybe he was just disarming me or whatever, but like he gave it a thoughtful answer. He took the stage down. So he's sitting at our level. He's not sitting above us anymore. I don't know. I think for all of the craziness and everything you said is legit. I think he comes out of it like, you know what? I have a much deeper understanding of these folks, and the difference between what the media is and what we are is basically just physical talent, you know? Because I tell you what, if Jaylen Brown wasn't as athletic and awesome as he was, if he had my genetics and I had his, I'd be sitting there being pissed at him and he'd be the one asking me questions because he loves the game so much and he'd want to be involved.
Yeah. And I know we got to get to it, but I respect all of that about Joe. And honestly, this is like all I wanted to say about this was that I feel like the fact that he needed that to understand how much reporters love the game of basketball to me is like, it kind of lazy, and I didn't like it.
Sure.
I get defensive.
And you're not alone.
Of course, reporters love the game. They love the game. That's why they do this.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Yeah. You're not alone. There are plenty of people who feel the same way.
I think there are a lot of people who took it too far. I think there are a lot of people who's like, he's bullying, he's doing all this stuff. It's like, no, he needs to understand that like reporters love the game too. He doesn't have a stranglehold on loving the game of basketball.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who do.
Yeah. I'm still
and now he gets that, I guess. So, win-win.
Next time we're scoring more buckets though.
Heck yeah.
I want that again. All right, we're going to talk about preseason when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at Wayfair. It is just about entertaining season, holiday entertainment, which means people over for Thanksgiving. Maybe you can still get some autumn stuff that you want to put up. Christmas is around the corner if you celebrate that. There are plenty of holidays and plenty of ways to decorate. Wayfair is going to help you refresh your house, maybe a guest room, maybe different rooms in the house that you need to get holiday ready. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and budget. I'm a big Wayfair shopper. I have plenty of stuff from Wayfair. I can confirm that whatever you're willing to spend, there is something kind of cool there for you to be able to, whether you're decorating a 4-bedroom house or a 1-bedroom apartment or a studio somewhere, you can get that at Wayfair. So I have a room upstairs. Our son is up there playing video games in this room. He sits there, he's sprawled out on the couch. It's all from Wayfair. It looks cool. He's comfortable, so we love it. Very easy to find styles that fit in your budget. Delivery is fast and free, which is a lifesaver right now. And, just get yourself ready for the family rush of people. Get organized, refreshed, ready for the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Locked On Fantasy Basketball, hosted by Josh Lloyd. He is the GOAT when it comes to basketball podcasting. He's going to get you ready for your fantasy basketball season. He's going to help you win your league. He's like a cheat code. So check him out wherever you got this podcast, listening or watching on YouTube. All right, Tom Westerholm. Actual basketball by competent players all the way around, theoretically, was played. Let's get through. Let's spend positives in this segment, negatives in the next segment. First name on our list is Josh Minott, and I think that's a great place to start. I'm just like, I'm already taking a victory lap on Josh Minott because he was the guy I did my preseason feature on, and it's because I'm like, all right, here's a guy who thinks he's got a chance. He's got all the tools, and he comes out in these games. I think he might have been, aside from Derek White, the most consistent Celtic out there. I like the way he plays. I like what he's going to bring to this team. I can even see him getting a spot. I think everybody on this team is going to get a spot start at some point. Yeah. But I think Minott is going to be
Ron Harper Jr. Step on up. You're getting a start.
Yeah, right. I like Minott. I just like what he brings with that length. I think that's a hit for Brad Stevens.
Big hit. Yeah, I think we touched on this earlier in the preseason, but I think with Minott, you're looking at a guy that the Celtics really could have used last year, just a guy who
which is exactly what Jaylen Brown said.
Yeah,
he's like, we could have used this guy the past couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think just having that, again, there's something we talked about, but I think just having that level of do everything, at his athleticism, at his size, at his length. I just think there's a versatility there that the Celtics are really going to need this season, right? This is a year where versatility is just going to be so valuable because there's going to be holes on the roster, right? So if you can take a guy and plug him in other areas, or even just kind of have him cover up holes that are around, I think that's going to be really big. And then I think the other thing about Minott that's just so crucial is the Celtics don't want to have a bunch of guys who they're then going to have to move on from, who can't help them in the future, right? When everybody's healthy and they start to try to get really competitive again, if you can find a couple of guys this season who can really help you this season and then can take important but still backup roles going forward, if Minott can be that guy, and it seems like early returns are hopeful in that regard, because I think I don't see any reason that he couldn't still get minutes when Tatum's back, and if this team's a little competitive still. If Minott can be one of those guys that you can that can help you bridge this season to next season and really start to get competitive again. Like you said, that's a big win for Brad.
Yeah. The focus is guys who can accentuate Tatum and Brown. That's it. He accentuates Tatum and Brown, gets them a rest. I like him. He's young and he's anxious enough where I think he would stick around on a multi-year contract at good money.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, he just wants to stick. So Brad can come in at some point this season and be like, hey, 3 years, $10 million, you know, and you know, whatever, 11, 12, 3 million a year, 4 million a year. And he'd be like, yes, absolutely. Because he said before the season, he's like on his way out of the league practically. I don't know if that was really the case, but he was kind of like low on chances. So
yeah.
I think.
And I also love his shin tattoos, like the now and later thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I like it, you know, well, you can do the work now or you can do it later. Like I love that. And then I also like in that same interview where he was like talking about like, yeah, I think he used the phrase like I like where my feet are at. And I don't know, that kind of like grounded sort of present mentality. I think that's really important in the life of a professional athlete. Like imagine how easy it would be to just get your feet swept out from under you in like, it's like really focusing on where your feet are at. I love that. So,
yeah, that's good.
That's
good. Luka Garza. Let's get to Luka Garza. And actually, I think I want to talk about all the bigs at the same time.
Fair. Yeah.
With this, because what I see is 4 very distinctly talented bigs. So Garza, absolutely good preseason. I thought the Raptors, this last Raptors game was an indication of like, I think sometimes he's going to have, you know, a game where he's leaning a little bit. He gets a little too leany with his picks. He's got to learn from Al Horford how to wish Al was around to teach him how to get away with that a little bit. But every once in a while, he's going to have a game where the refs are like, nah, it's too much, you know, and he'll legitimately be able to say, I got away with that yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah. And they're going to be like, no, you're not getting away with it today. And he's going to have to adjust. But so I agree. We both,
which is always funny because you can see the difference too. Like, it's like you can kind of see and be like, I think they're going to call that one. And then they do. Yeah. Like, but it's the margins. It's margins.
It's like, right? It's like, the line just kind of is like this way. And you're like, okay, that's good. That's bad. You know, it's so slight.
Yeah.
But, so he's good at what he does. But Tillman, we saw kind of like the best of Tillman against Toronto. Yeah. We saw the best of Keita against Toronto. We've seen pretty good Chris Boucher. I still don't think the bigs are very good. Because there's no one big that's going to be like, oh, well, this guy's going to rise to our starting center. Like, even if Keita plays well for a few games, I don't think he's rising to be like, oh, you can play him in any situation.
Right.
You're going to have to play Keita in certain spots, and then he's going to have to sit. Boucher's going to have to start, or Garza, or Tillman. It's going to be such a mix and match. But I actually think that they're all just good enough where it's not always going to work, but you can maybe get away with, okay, today the combination is Garza and Keita, and that's just going to be the mix, and you sprinkle in a little Boucher here and there, and, Tillman doesn't play. And the next game, Tillman is the first guy off the bench, and Keita's not going to play. And that's just going to be how they go. But because these guys are also unique in their skill sets, I think Joe might be like a little silver lining that you can kind of mix and match and have them kind of be okay.
I agree. I think that the big thing for this season with the bigs is going to be like, they need to have enough self-awareness to know what their strengths and weaknesses are, so that on nights where Joe is like, listen, this is a Tillman night. This is a Garza night. This is a Keita night. This isn't like, okay, this is let's say, this is a Tillman and Keita night. Boucher needs to have like the self-awareness to be like, okay, it's not my night tonight, but it will be tomorrow. And that's okay. Right. Like, I think that self-awareness is going to be really important. Cause I think you're right. I think there's enough varied talent in these bigs to be okay a lot of nights, maybe most nights, honestly. I mean, like, a healthy Joel Embiid, you got nothing for him, but like that's not going to be what you run into a lot of the time, right? And I mean, it might not be something you run into when you play the Philadelphia 76ers, quite honestly, but you know that
again.
yeah, really. But I think that's going to be the big thing is just can these guys all just kind of like say like, okay, I accept that I will play a lot against this team and I might sit the bench a lot against this team.
Quick rapid fire positives, just because I want to mention the positives. I've talked about Hugo Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I just really like him. I really like him.
He's going to be good.
I think he's going to be good. Not this year necessarily, but he's going to be good. Derek White,
I agree with that.
Is like, yeah, Derek White to me is like a perfect basketball player. Like, do nothing, change nothing. He'll have his like cold shooting nights, but like,
yeah. The only thing I would say, not change nothing. I love that he's getting more volume. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be a lot of fun. I think
I'm so excited. I'm literally excited for Derek White's season. Yeah. Peyton Pritchard. I mentioned this. Peyton Pritchard. I was impressed with his rebounding, boxing out. He was getting in there, buddy. He was boxing out. He was getting low and pushing. Like, I'm like, yeah, buddy, get out there and do your thing. He was really working hard. So I got to shout out Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, and then I just real quick, my quick rapid fire one. This team is competitive. Like that's what we talked about before. You know, like they're over here. Yeah, they're competitive. They're tough. I don't think that they're gonna be. You know, like I don't. This didn't change where I think their ceiling is, but it did. I think seeing this preseason made me think. You know, I'm a little bit more confident that they reach their ceiling this season. They're gonna play hard. They've got talent. They've got once they work out who works with who and what situations everybody plays in and you know who accentuates Jaylen and Derek the best. Like I think there's some there. You know, this is going to be a decent team.
Come back with the negatives, the turnovers, the rebounding, some Anfernee Simons thoughts when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Go over to FanDuel.com, sign up. New customers, you get $300 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. You just got to bet $5, pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, $300 unlocked in bonus bets. You can use those across the app. So you want to build a parlay, you want to try some player props. Maybe you want to go on Drake May touchdowns, a little over under there. Live lines are always fun. You can, football's here, basketball's here. So watching a game can be a little more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So if you're a casual fan, or if you're diving deep into those stats, FanDuel makes the game of day experience a lot better. Set your limits, set your budget. Once you sign in, it tells you, do you want to set your budget? You say yes, whatever it is that you can afford to lose, just in case you hit a little bit of a cold streak, that's your budget. Set that. If you hit it, okay, come back in a couple of weeks. You can try again. Over at FanDuel.com, download the app now and get started. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. Make that your second and third listen, because you've got Locked On NBA Game Night on that feed, which is 7 days a week covering every game in the NBA. Locked On NBA in the afternoons, debate show style, talking about all the big stories in the league. So go check that out wherever you listen to or watch this podcast. All right, let's get into the negatives. Tom, turnovers and rebounding. Pick one. They both sucked.
Pretty bad. Bad.
I do want to give credit. 70% defensive rebounding possession percentage against the Raptors. I don't think the Raptors were crashing hard, but credit where credit's due. We talked about they were like 63, 65, 70% D-rebound percentage. If that's where they are over the course of the season, I'll live with it. But
listen, if you do more turnovers, you're going to give up more breakaways, which is going to lead to more baskets for the other team, which is going to leave fewer opportunities for defensive rebounds. So maybe your percentage goes up.
Okay, fair enough, Tom. Jeez,
I talked about both of them.
Where can I put Tom's name in the negatives? But for real though, it's the rebounding. They absolutely have to focus. And it's funny. Tillman was talking at practice, and we were like, "So what do you do to fix the rebounding?" He's like, "Honestly, box out." We were looking at the film, and there's too many of us just standing and watching. So hopefully, the preseason has been the message of, "Okay, boys, you got to get in there and you got to box out everybody has to box out, and then you can go run.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that stuff's positive, right? Like it's good that they're aware of this stuff. I think turnovers will, I think they'll improve a bit when they play like actual lineups, right? Like, I mean, Shireman did not cover himself in glory this preseason, right? Like,
that's a negative.
Yeah,
that's a negative. He had a bad preseason.
He did, yeah.
Coming off a bad summer league, I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. I think. So I mean, I think the Celtics will have guys on the floor. I mean, I thought it was interesting to test Simons. This kind of starts to get into where, I thought it was interesting to kind of test Simons at the end of yesterday's game and say like, okay, you be the primary ball handler, like see if you can handle it. And I didn't always think that he did very well. And so I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Pritchard and Derek White, and I think those guys have got to be on it as far as ball handling, because like. They can't be the ones turning it over. If they turn it over, I think that's going to be the difference. Like a 3 or 4 turnover game for either of those guys, I think is where you start to have like a 17 or 18 turnover game instead of a 13 or 14, right? Like they've really got to take care of the ball. So I think that's, it's one of those ones where it's almost nitpicky, because it's like, well, there's going to, not nitpicky, but like this team's going to have problems, right? There's going to be things that are wrong with this team. Turnovers and rebounds are just kind of them. And it's like, they're going to spend the whole season fighting that.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, I think last time, the level to which they mitigate those issues will really have a big impact on how they do this season.
The turnovers are the bigger problem, actually, because that's your own fault. Right. That a lot of it is your own fault. You weren't going up against the most stout defenses, although Jaylen did make a good point that those first 3 games against like second, third unit guys, those guys are real tryhards out there, and they're putting a lot of pressure on you. So yeah, you got turned over a lot. You're probably not going to face that level of pressure, but also get used to that, because now teams see that and go, oh, okay, we're going to pressure these guys and maybe we'll get a few turnovers. So every negative can be a positive. Every positive can be a negative.
Right.
So the negative of turning the ball over is, why did you turn the ball over? Okay, let's fix that. The rebounding is going to be a problem, but like you just brought up, we've talked about it before. Get that to, if 70% is where they land, that will be fine, because that'll be middle of the pack. And they are, put this in the positives, a good offensive rebounding team. So go out there and grab as many offensive rebounds as you give up. Okay, negate that. Boom, done. Now win the turnover battle, play with pace, win the margins, shot attempts, your free throw attempts. Now you're going to give yourself a chance to win a lot of these games. That could just come down to some cold shooting or some hot shooting on the other side. You're going to have some variables in there, but if you can just say, the defensive rebounding is here, our offensive rebounding is also here, fine, we'll live with that, because there'll be enough games where you get a few more offensive rebounds and you give up a few less defensive rebounds, and or you miss a few less defensive rebounds, and it's all about just not putting yourself in such a hole that you have no chance of winning that game. So
for sure.
Okay, Simons. You touched on it a little bit. You're the Simons guy. Will you tell me why he's a negative?
Well, listen, I mean, I think that there were a lot of positives from Simons. I mean, look, the shot's so pretty, right? Like, it's just like gorgeous shot. Like, I mean,
sure,
having that 3-point shooting is going to be really helpful. I think the 3 things that I would like to see a little bit more, I want to see him be more of a 3-level scorer, right? Because I think he can do it. I mean, we've seen him do it a little bit better than I think we saw in the preseason, during, at times. I think some of that will help. Specific lineups can help him with that for sure. I didn't love that when he was. I was kind of anticipating him being a little bit more capable as the lone primary ball handler. I thought that was a role that he could probably play. That didn't look particularly good yesterday, so that's another small negative there. And I want to see him play a little faster. I mean, some of that is like the ball handling stuff, right? Like some of that is like, but I want to see him play faster. I think that if he plays fast, he can be such a dangerous weapon on this team. And I didn't necessarily see enough of that during the preseason. So
Yeah.
those are the three things I want to see. None of them, all of them fixable. All of them could be, fine with a little bit more, comfort in the system, all that stuff. I thought, we didn't see him really get targeted much. I didn't think there was nobody who could necessarily target him who they played. So that's, a TBA, TBD kind of situation. But yeah, so I mean, I just want to, I spent a lot of time really gassing up Anfernee Simons. So I want to temper it just a smidge based on preseason. I thought he was good as a shooter, but there's a lot of stuff that I would like to see him get better at here.
I agree with all of that stuff. I would, I wrote on Boston Sports Journal that I just wish, man, I wish Drew was around. I know they got traded for each other, but I wish Drew was around to show him how to navigate a screen. Because for all of Anfernee's, trying, and I've seen some trying on defense, he gets hit with a screen and it's just like sticks to it. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go over it. And you're like, all right, well, now you're 3 steps behind the play. Or like he just needs to understand how to position himself, how to get around it, dip a shoulder, get low, the Marcus Smart, like Marcus Smart used to like almost scrape his elbows on the floor trying to get around some screens. So he needs to learn some of that. And I think if he can learn some of that, he'll be passable defensively. But I appreciate that he's giving a little more effort. And we'll see how it goes. But I think Anfernee is a big old incomplete. And I'm with you. I wish it was a little bit more complete. I wish there was a little bit more that we saw, but 6 weeks or 7 weeks or whatever, 8 weeks, the official camp, plus the unofficial camp, it's not enough time to break some of the habits that he's had for his whole career. And so you wish it was, but it's not. So, all right. I think that does it. I don't know if there's any other, we talk about Baylor. He's Jordan Walsh, is in the negative, but it's not enough to be like, but I am disappointed in Shireman a little bit. There's still time, but it's a little disappointing. I thought he was going to be a rotation guy, and he doesn't look like a rotation guy.
I don't think he's right. I don't think he's ready. No.
So, all right. Well, that's the preseason. Next week we're back. Celtics will start practicing again next week, and then regular season is here.
A real basketball game.
Basketball games. We'll see. We'll see what the Sixers are. They might not have Paul George. We already know they might not have Paul George. I don't know if they're going to have. So who knows? I'm talking about them potentially going 0-7 to start the season. Like, no, you're going to get like another G League team. They're going to get the Delaware Blue Coats.
Yeah, the preseason actually really prepared them for game 1 of the season, which is a team without any of its best players.
Tyrese Maxey and the Blue Coats. Let's go. All right, Tom, appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
And I do appreciate all of you listening, watching, making this your first listen every day. Thanks for hanging with us through some of the preamble, still media game leftovers. Listen, I'm still getting calls. I'm still getting texts. It's still out there. But hey, whatever. It's cool. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.